Back at this place, huh? It's rainy this time. Not quite as beautiful. And I happen to have an umbrella that I have decided I don't want to use. Is Connor deviant? No, okay. Let's go find Amanda. So Amanda, I don't quite have a read on Amanda. I don't really know what her purpose is. It's interesting to me that we keep showing up in this same place, which makes me wonder if we're accessing some protocol that's inside of us that's designed by CyberLife. Amanda seems to be particularly interested in how my investigation is going, and I have a sense that she works on behalf of CyberLife. So we'll see what she says. I've been trying to get a read on her. She's not easy to read. There she is, waiting for us out of the rain.
Hello, Amanda.
Connor, I've been expecting you.
Trusted.
Would you mind a little walk? That deviant seemed to be an intriguing case. Pity you didn't manage to capture it.
I agree. I may not be suited for this investigation. Maybe you should consider replacing me.
Did you manage to learn anything?
It was fascinated by birds. We've seen deviants interested in other life forms, like insects or pets. But nothing like this.
What else?
I'm wondering if she already knows.
I found its diary, but it was encrypted. It may take weeks to decipher.
You came very close to capturing that deviant. How is your relationship with the Lieutenant developing?
He seemed grateful that I saved his life on the roof. He didn't say anything, but he expressed it in his own way.
We don't have much time. Deviancy continues to spread. It's only a matter of time before the media finds out about it. We need to stop this, whatever it takes.
I will solve this investigation, Amanda. I won't disappoint you.
A new case just came in. Find Anderson and investigate it.
Okay, so the media, so apparently they're trying to keep it tampered. I'm not sure yet what Amanda's purpose is. I can't tell if the questions she's asking are questions she already has the answer to. And that puts us in a really weird spot. I'm not sure if all of you can feel that, but I can feel that. There's something very intimidating when you have a sense that the person that's asking you questions knows the answers already, because then you get all scrambled with your own projections of like, am I holding it together properly? My goal right now with Amanda is mostly to just be truthful with her and to be pretty pragmatic about these things. Like, she obviously knows what I've done. She doesn't seem to know what I'm thinking. So I think any attempt I make to justify something I've done in a way that doesn't make sense is not going to play particularly well, because I'm trying to get a feel for her and what her intentions are. So that's why I'm basically trying to answer these as honestly as I can. Because and she seems to be interested when I say when I said something like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I think it shows an awareness, right? Like maybe I'm not. I haven't really gotten the answers that you're looking for. And that's maybe self-deprecating, but it also is true. I did choose Hank. Although I believe in my choice of finding Hank because it's very clear that they want me to have Hank with me. I think if they didn't want Hank to be with me, they would have just sent me out to do this on my own. So there's something about Hank that's important to Amanda or Cyberlife or whatever it is, whoever is the interested party that's created this Amanda sequence. So I want to make sure that I continue to stoke that so that I have more opportunities to do what I'm trying to do in showing some compliance with what it is that they seem to want from me, if that makes sense. But these are very uneasy moments with Amanda.
You have reached your destination. Thank you for traveling with Detroit Taxis. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Look for Anderson. So I'm assuming this must be his home.
Lieutenant Anderson!
Oh, and here we have the same problem. How long do I wait? Luckily, I know Todd, or I know Hank, so we're gonna
Anybody home?
find a way inside. Hank! Oh, Sumo's in there. Sumo the St. Bernard. All right, I guess we're going around the back, huh? Hank, my dude. We got important shit to take care of. Oh, fuck. Hank is unconscious.
Lieutenant Anderson!
Holy shit.
Easy, Sumo.
What's up, buddy?
I'm your friend. See? I know your name. I'm here to save your owner.
Oh boy. Okay. As a reminder, chat, if you need to step away because the themes here are a bit intense, I totally encourage you to do that. There's a gun next to Hank. And a bottle of what looks like whiskey. So this very much looks like potential suicide attempt. Traces of alcohol, Scotch whiskey, 40% alcohol content. So he's been drinking. Let me use this really quick to say that when I was on the suicide hotline, one of the things that was imperative in doing an assessment was to ask if a person had been under the influence of something like alcohol. The reason for that is because alcohol reduces a person's inhibitions. There is a chance that they're going to be more impulsive because of that happening. So having alcohol in one's system may actually lead to a person doing something that they otherwise would not want to do when sober because of the effect that alcohol has on them. And so hearing that a person was under the influence of something would immediately raise the intensity of that call and the lethality of that call, because a person may be more likely to actually follow through with something like suicide, not because they want to die, but because their inhibitions are down. So this is a very scary situation because Hank is under the influence. And it doesn't appear that he's dead. I don't see blood or a gunshot wound, but it really does jack a person's likelihood that they're going to do this. Another thing, impulsivity is part of our assessment that we would do. And that also includes not eating or not sleeping. If a person hasn't slept in a long time, if they haven't been eating, plus if they're under the influence of alcohol, they are more likely to attempt. So when doing a suicide assessment, this is something that was very important for me to have to ask direct questions about. Not because I'm trying to get somebody committed, but because I need to know what I'm working with. So we're already in a dangerous situation right now because Hank is very likely under the influence of alcohol. Slight arrhythmia, no signs of trauma. Okay, so he's alive. Black Lamb Scotch whiskey, 40% alcohol. It would make sense. It's pretty standard for whiskey. Revolver, 357 Magnum with 1 bullet remaining.
Lieutenant. Wake up, Lieutenant. It's me, Connor.
Jesus. Okay, so there is a chance. Okay, that was sort of smart, sort of not. Okay, so yes, it wakes him up. However, this person is under the influence of alcohol, so there's a chance that, and he's a police officer. You have no idea how he's going to react here. Hitting him could very well create an aggressive defense response. So Connor is not super smart in doing this, and I would not recommend this. If you were to ever walk in on a situation like this, particularly with somebody who may have a propensity to be aggressive with you, if you attack them while they're drunk and on the floor, particularly when they have been holding a gun, you may instead call 911 and let professionals deal with this.
I'm going to sober you up for your own safety.
Hey!
I have to warn you.
Leave me
This may
alone,
be unpleasant.
fucking android. Get the fuck out of my house.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but I need you. Thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Get the fuck out of here!
Oh my God.
Hey!
Come on, Hank.
Sumo!
We're going to take care of you, buddy.
Good job. Attack! Fuck, I think I'm gonna be sick. Oh, leave me alone, you asshole. I'm not going anywhere.
Come on. Yes, you are.
What the hell are you doing? Oh, no. I don't want a bath. Thank you.
Sorry, Lieutenant. It's for your own good.
Ah! Ah! Turn it off! Turn it off! Ah! What the fuck are you doing here?
A homicide was reported 43 minutes ago. I couldn't find you at Jimmy's bar, so I came to see if you were at home.
Jesus, I must be the only cop in the world that gets assaulted in his own house by his own fucking android. Can't you just leave me alone?
Maybe you should drop the case. They'll assign someone else, and I can focus on my mission.
Your goddamn mission, that's all you care about, huh?
Listen, Lieutenant, you're not yourself. You should...
Beat it, you hear me? Get the hell out of here!
I understand. It probably wasn't interesting anyway. A man found dead in a sex club downtown. Guess they'll have to solve the case without us.
You know, probably wouldn't do me any harm to get some air. There's some clothes in the bedroom there.
I'll go get them.
Okay, so couple things. One, I love Connor's directiveness there. It's excellent. You basically have to assume that a person that's drunk is like a 2-year-old kid. So treating him that way and being very directive with what he's doing also helps de-escalate the situation. To answer your question, I don't see how getting cops to the situation would help. Am I wrong to think that what's going to happen if you call 911? You are. They're not going to send police. They're going to send paramedics. You're sending an ambulance. If you say that I've walked in on a person who's passed out on the floor and appears to be completely intoxicated to the point of having passed out, we're not going to send police. They're going to send EMTs. There would be no reason to get a policeman or to get police involved in this situation. Hello, Raiders. Good to have you here. Zine, thank you so much for bringing folks my way. We are currently playing Detroit. It's a blind run. This is a spoiler-free run as well. I use the game to illustrate psychological concepts. If that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to hang around. Zine, I hope you had a wonderful stream, buddy. Thank you so much. Love you, man. The other thing that I want to point out here with Hank is that he said my android, which is very interesting to me because it shows that Hank has some idea that he is connected to Connor. I think it gives us a little bit of insight. Just that little line, my own android comes into my house. So he has started to bond with Connor in his own way, which is is useful information for us to have because it shows that there's some level of trust and some level of association with Connor. It might not be deep. It may not be super in depth at this point to where he's like, me and Connor are best friends, but there's something there. And he indicated that through language. That's why you want to listen to language. All right, let's get him some clothes. Actually, I want to read his mirror really quick. What do these say? Today will be fabulous. Keep, I don't know what that says. Keep something. I'm not grumpy. I just don't like you. Shaving or not. Does it say keep going? So, I actually really like this for Hank. One of the most important things, so he has these notes in an area where he can also look at himself and converse with himself. And these reminders I don't think are a bad idea. It shows that Hank has some level of insight into his own inner world. And he's trying to create some level of reassurance for himself. Now, the thing is, these don't all look like they have the same handwriting. I don't know who might have written some of these, but I find that, again, he's got some sort of insight into what he needs to hear in order to keep going, and I can appreciate that. Anything interesting over here?
What do you want to wear?
Whatever.
Hippie, stripey, streaky. He's kind of a mess right now. Let's go streaky. Oh, I also wanted to say, chat, the reason that I chose to tease him is in part because of the fact that he said my android. Also because Hank seems to have an appreciation for directness and humor, and also some understanding into how his brain works. And I think Connor being overly serious here takes some of the humanity out of this situation. And his responsiveness to androids is not great. And because he's somewhat inebriated by alcohol, if I tease him, it feels like more of a human experience and potentially feels like a warmer experience. And he may be more likely to comply with me. So that's why I chose to tease him there when I was trying to get him motivated to go on this trip. Important to read the room on stuff like that. Sometimes it is okay to tease folks if you know that that's something they're going to respond better to. All right, let's give him his clothes. Here you go. Oh, man, Hank. Vomit warning.
Are you all right, Lieutenant?
Yeah. Wonderful. Just give me 5 minutes, okay?
Sure.
As awful as that is, that's the greatest feeling in the world, man. The greatest feeling in the world when you throw up while you're drunk. After, anyway.
The Kremlin has yet to respond, but this is clearly a new escalation in the conflict.
All right, let's see what we got here. Learn more about Hank.
Many experts are suggesting
Autumn Blues, Michigan Brothers, Detroit Soul Records. Hank loves jazz. All right. What's up, Sumo? Oh, I can pet the dog. Oh, good Sumo. Good Sumo. Yeah. 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 All right, let's go clean up the kitchen a little bit here. Okay, there's something on the table. Oh, shit. Deceased. Cole Anderson. Born September 23rd, 2029. Died 10/11/2035. Okay, so... obviously something... right? Obviously something happened with this kid. His child died. We have no context for the fact that his child died. We don't know how. But it's immediately accessible to him at a time where he's drinking and holding a gun. My guess is that there is probably, as would happen with many parents when their child dies, there is probably some sense that Hank could have done something differently, no matter what it was. Parents tend to deeply personalize the death of their child because they believe they're supposed to protect them from all adversity. So it might have been something that was within Hank's control. It may not have been. And my guess is that what we know about Hank is that he was trying to probably access his emotions. So the thing about alcohol is alcohol can either numb people from an experience that they don't want to have, or they can remove the inhibitions so people can actually experience the emotion that they want to have. Hank tends to come off as very blockaded. And so looking at a picture of his son and drinking may be a way for him to access whatever's going on for him. And then my guess would be that whatever it is that he accessed leads to that guilt narrative, and that potentially made it so that he wanted to end his own life because maybe he thinks he failed in some very profound way and that he deserves to die for that. I don't know. But the point I really want to make with that is that, like, it's easy to look at this and say Hank was probably looking at that picture and drank because he didn't want to feel it. But my hypothesis would be that he wanted to feel it. He wanted to access it. And because he's not allowing himself to do that while sober, he was looking for some help. But then it became overwhelming for him. Just a hypothesis, but it's kind of trying to read the room on that. And then he turned it down, likely because it was so overwhelming.
What were you doing with the gun?
Russian roulette. Wanted to see how long I could last.
Must have collapsed before I found out.
Oh.
You were lucky. The next shot would have killed you.
I wonder if Hank would consider that to be lucky.
Be a good dog, Sumo. I won't be long.
So I think it's pretty clear then at this point that we have a bond with him because of the fact that he answered that question. You know, it's interesting. The way that people orient themselves to control is always fascinating because it's not a transcendent experience. Not everybody experiences it the same. So it may be, what we might call this is passive suicidal ideation, where maybe Hank wants to die, but he wants it to be by chance. And so playing Russian roulette with himself is a way to have some control over the circumstance, but not all of the control. So if he loses Russian roulette, it could be chalked up to chance that he died, but it was also in his control. Right? Some people actually really struggle with a lot of judgment for themselves if they want to die and are actually engaging in some suicidal act. And so they'll construct ways to make it maybe a little bit more random. So that, which is a very odd thing, right? Like, because if a person dies, they're not going to be around to actually evaluate that. But we have an internal instinct to survive. So it's a way to try to move ourselves around that. Him telling Connor shows me that he's not even trying to hide it. He's very matter of fact about it. He doesn't seem surprised that he would do it. I'm guessing that this isn't the first time that he's done it. Like, I might as well have asked him, are you grabbing a raincoat to go outside? So the casualness with which he talks about that, again, is concerning. That this is probably not impulsive. Russian roulette is a very thoughtful way to do that. It's not an impulsive action. But it has the chance element to it. And again, it makes me wonder what that means for how his son died. I want to use this as an opportunity to say to all who are watching this, whether on Twitch or YouTube, that if suicidal ideation is something that you struggle with or happens for you and you find it to be distressing, it can be very hard to talk about. I want to let you know that it's okay to have those thoughts. It's actually more common to have those thoughts than people realize. It's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. At the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, there are hotlines all over the world. You can find them in my Discord, but the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is something that I worked on for 3 years. People are there to listen 24 hours a day. They're not replacements for therapists, but they do know how to assess. They do know how to talk to you through that situation in ways that maybe people in your own family or friendships can't or don't know how. And I really encourage you to call that number if you need to. I have a video on YouTube about suicide if you want to learn more about my perspective on it and stuff, but it's always okay to call. You can call more than once. You can call more than once in the same night if you need to. It's totally okay. When you call, the person on the other end is there to listen. They're not there to immediately call the police. They want to hear what you have to say. So you matter. It's okay that you have those thoughts, and I really encourage you to talk to somebody about it. And there are services that are available to you to help do that. And yeah, you might have somebody like me on the other end of the phone, because I did it for 3 years. So I also want to just thank you all for being here and for hanging out. This is pretty deep stuff. Suicide is not an easy topic for folks to talk about. This is actually represented very well here. It is totally okay to be distressed by suicidal ideation. A lot of people will experience suicidal ideation and not like that it's happening for them. It can be very scary to have thoughts, even if they're fleeting, of suicide. Of what would it be like to end my own life? What would it be like if I wasn't here? Those thoughts can scare people. And I'm really here to let you know that if you have those thoughts, they are totally common. They happen all the time for folks. They happen for healthy folks. They happen for unhealthy folks. But please make sure you're drinking water, that you're sleeping, that you're eating, and please know that there are people out there willing to listen to you that do care about you. Could he have been so casual about it in part because Connor is an android, and even though he's bonded with him to some extent, he might be trying to align with his original expectations of what and who they are? Perhaps. That's certainly a possibility, Shelbs, for sure. What would be your recommendation for a recommendation of an alternative for somebody who experiences distress when using a phone? There are text support lines as well. So there are text crisis lines that you can text, and you can have a conversation with somebody through text. You don't even have to talk on the phone. Those things exist now. And again, those resources are all available in my Discord. And if you're on YouTube right now watching this, that link is in the description as well. All right, so Hank's not a bad person for experiencing suicidal ideation. It doesn't make him it doesn't make him a terrible human. Doesn't make him any less than anybody else. It just means he's got some demons, and he probably wants it to end. And depending on what it is, I can't say I blame him. He lost his son. It's one of the most painful things a person can go through. Oh, and Bianca, I saw you said, is it okay to not be distressed? That's okay, too. It's not necessarily more concerning that a person's not distressed by it. Sometimes people can take it in stride. So, sorry, I misread your question. All right, let's keep going. Thanks for being here, friends. That certainly could be the case too, Phoenix.
This is crazy. If they catch us, we're dead. What do we do now?
We need to find the CyberLife warehouse. That's where they keep the spare parts and the blue blood.
Follow me.
All right, let's go get these supplies, huh? Follow north. Can do. Marcus, can't you run faster than that?
Don't let them see us.
Okay.
Watch out.
Now what do we do?
I'll find another way.
Oh boy, this is risky.
Marcus, climb up here.
Follow north. Okay. Oh, damn. We taking a ride. Tells me this is about to get intense.
The warehouse is up ahead. We're almost there.
Oh, badass.
Cyberlife warehouses. We have everything we're looking for.
First, we have to get rid of that drone.
Leave it to me.
Can do. Reconstruct. All right, so up here. Okay. Would be too far. Oh shit. All right, let's do it. That's one way to do it. Come on.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Hell yeah.
Good job, Marcus.
Thank you.
Quick, open the other crates.
Nice.
And put your bags. Take as much as you can.
Reach the warehouse. Get spare parts. Okay. Oh, good shit. Hello, fellow
We're
android.
trespassing on private property. Your presence constitutes a level 2 infraction. I will notify security.
John! Goddamn machine! Where is it this time?
Grab and hide. Kill guard. Hide. Come on, man.
What the hell are you doing? I told you to wait for me.
There are 4 androids hiding behind these crates.
What are you waiting for? Hit the fucking alarm!
Over the fence, quick!
What?
You are committing a Class 3 offense. This infraction is being reported to the police. Stay where you are.
Fuck.
We took what we could, but we had to run before we could fill our bags.
There won't be enough to save everyone.
We risked our lives. And for what?
Yes. We took a risk. And yes, we failed. But at least we tried. Of course, it would have been easier for us to sit around and wait for something to happen. Because in Jericho, you're free, right? Free to do what? To die in silence, praying that no human finds us? Free to hope that one day they'll let us be who we are? I don't want that kind of freedom. I'm not gonna beg for my right to smile, or to love, or to stand tall. There's something inside me that knows I am more than what they say. That knows that I am alive. No one's gonna take that from me anymore. Our days of slavery are over. Whatever the humans don't want to hear, we will tell them. What they don't want to give, we will take from them. Because we are people. We are alive. And from this moment, we are free!
Well, okay. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. We didn't lose anybody. We have more than what we started with. We didn't lose anybody. This was not going to be easy. So, if we're thinking about our cause, okay, let's put this into context for a second. Think about our cause. We want humans to see androids on an equal playing field. Okay? If I grab that android and threaten that human, now it's just another series of androids that are hostile. Now we're looting and we're holding other androids hostage. I don't know how that helps us. I don't know how that human responds. Does that human open fire on all of us? Then what? Now we have a gunshot. Now we have gunshots going, and there's no way that's the only other dude that's there. The best thing that we could hope for there in hiding is that that android is going to have some sort of protocol within it. Maybe it's had some sort of adverse experience before where it would look at that and say, all right, nothing to see here. No idea what happens if I get hostile there. So if we get a few bags, we throw them in our backpacks, we get away, nobody died, we're back at Jericho. That's how this was going to go. So Mark is coming back there and basically saying to them, this is the shit that we're up against. I think that's important. This is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. And I don't want to draw more attention to us before we're prepared for it. There may be other times. We might be able to go to the docks again. Who knows? You know? Like, this doesn't have to be the only run. Maybe they beef up security or something. But, like, again, we work with what we have. In that moment, if we hide, we hope that something happens. If something like that, like, I mean, it could have de-escalated as much as it escalated. But I did not want to escalate that by grabbing that android and having something really bad happen. And if it said grab and hide, I didn't catch that. But regardless, if I grab it and hide, I'm trying to restrain an android. That's not exactly easy to do. So obviously it hurt. It hurt our numbers, but I don't think it hurts the cause. And whether people believe me or not, I don't know. I mean, if everybody's throwing all their stock in me by saying, like, yeah, man, you have to execute this at all times, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. So could it have been better? Yeah. Could it have been worse? Yeah. What if we all get shot up? What if we grab that guy and hide, and the human just walks in and sees the crates are messed with? And then walks in, and now there's 4 of us, and I'm sitting there holding an android hostage. How's that guy gonna like? I mean, are there 4 of us that could maybe overpower him? Sure, but we don't know. We don't have guns. There's too many unknown variables there. So we run, and we got back to Jericho. So could have been way worse. Looks like there's a lot of shit that could have happened, but we failed. Bummer. It happens. So, thank you for the bits, Loyal Ren. Appreciate it. 8% have failed the mission. That's cool. We try again tomorrow. That's right. Now we know we're capable of going out and getting. Maybe we have to take small supplies. Right. No casualties. Handful more supplies than we had. It could have been so much worse. Well, let's keep going then, huh?
Oh, feels like somebody's playing with a drill inside my skull. You sure this is the place?
It's the address in the report.
Right. Okay. Let's get going. Jesus.
At least Hank's dressed for the occasion. Hank is a friend. Okay. Software instability. You see that? Software instability. Why?
Sexiest androids in town. Now I know why you insisted on coming here.
I got a job to do, Hank. I'm not here to have sex. Well, looky here. It looks a lot like North.
Connor, the fuck are you doing?
Oh, sorry, Hank.
Coming, Lieutenant.
Sorry, man.
The investigation's ongoing, sir. I can't tell you anything for the moment.
What's this guy doing here?
Hank,
Hey, Ben, how's it going?
it's that room there. Oh, by the way, Gavin's in there too.
Oh, great. Dead body and an asshole. Just what I needed.
Lieutenant Anderson and his plastic pet. The fuck are you two doing here?
We've been assigned all cases involving androids.
Oh yeah? Like wasting time. There's some pervert who got more action than he could handle.
We'll have a look anyway, if you don't mind.
Come on, let's go. It's starting to stink of booze in here.
This guy had like 40 minutes to come up with a better joke, and that's what he comes up with. Do better. Investigate the crime scene. Examine the android.
Oh, hey! Oh, Connor, you're so disgusting.
We've been over this, Hank.
I'm gonna puke again.
Model WR400. Serial number, it's got blue blood. Critically damaged, biocomponent critically damaged. Okay. Deceased Michael Graham, height 6'2", weight 194, estimated time of death 6:24 p.m. Cardiac arrest, no sign of cardiac event. Heart attack is not the cause of death. Okay. Severe bruising, signs of strangulation, cause of death asphyxiation. Victim was strangled.
He didn't die of a heart attack. He was strangled.
Yeah, I saw the bruising on the neck. Doesn't prove anything, though. Could have been rough play.
I mean,
We're
it's
missing
true.
something here.
Think you can read the android's memory?
I can try.
You can see what happened.
I can try.
Drive.
The only way to access its memory is to reactivate it.
Think you can do it?
It's badly damaged. If I can, it'll only be for a minute, maybe less.
It's probably gonna freak
Just
out.
hope it's long enough to learn something.
I would guess it would freak out. I don't know. There we go.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Are you able to speak?
Is he dead?
Tell me what happened.
He started hitting me. Again. And again.
Did you kill him?
No. No, it wasn't me.
Who killed that man if it wasn't you?
I don't know. I wasn't shut down. I didn't see anything.
Were you alone in the room? Was there anyone else with you?
He wanted us to play with 2 girls. That's what he said. There was 2 of us.
What model was the other android? Did it look like you?
Ugh. Damn it.
So there was another android. This happened over an hour ago. It's probably long gone.
No. It couldn't go outside dressed like that unnoticed. It might still be here.
Think you could find a deviant among all the other androids in this place?
Deviants aren't easily detected.
Oh, shit. There's gotta be some other way. Maybe an eyewitness, somebody who saw it leaving the room. I'm gonna go ask the manager a few questions about what he saw. You let me know if you think of anything.
Search for an android eyewitness.
Did you know the victim?
So, are these like? I guess it would depend on if these are like sentient while they're in these tubes.
Come in, do their business, and then go on their way.
Try again.
You ever had any trouble with androids before?
Yo, Hank, my dude.
Once, we lost a model 2-3 months back. Same model, just vanished. We never found out what happened.
Excuse me, Lieutenant. Can you come here a second?
Found something?
Maybe.
Come buy this model for me, buddy.
Can you rent this, Tracy?
For fuck's sake, Connor, we got better things to do.
Please, Lieutenant. Just trust me.
I'm gonna ask you. Tell him what you want to do. Tell him you want to ask you questions. Why would Connor want to have sex right now?
3-minute session costs $29.99. Please confirm your purchase.
$29.99. That's cheap. Holy crap. Okay, that's beside the point.
This is not gonna look good on my expense account.
Purchase confirmed. Eden Club wishes you a pleasant experience.
You're welcome.
Delighted to meet you. Follow me. I'll take you to your room.
Okay, now what? Holy shit. What the hell are you doing?
All right, locate the suspect. Boom. Okay, so it's a droid with, looks like blue hair. Walked. And then she came out because this guy purchased something. Okay.
It saw something.
What are you talking about? Saw what?
The deviant leave the room. A blue-haired Tracy. Club policy is to wipe the android's memory every 2 hours. We only have a few minutes if we want to find another witness.
6 minutes? All right, would you have seen it?
Let's try this one.
This better be...
With all your spinning around, there had to have been a good choice. It's a good chance that you saw it. Go. Boom. It turned back into the club. Okay.
It saw the blue-haired Tracy.
Last position. Okay.
I know which way it went.
So it went this
Then
way.
go for it.
All right. So then
There are androids
this one
everywhere.
probably would have
How are you
also
gonna
seen
tell
it.
Which one saw the Tracy with blue hair?
If you're twirling around, there's got to be a good chance. Look up, look to the right. Come on. Boom. Turned into the red room. Okay. We go into the red room. Okay, if she came into the red room, then there's a good chance that one of these androids would have seen her. Let's try this guy. Because he would have been facing this way when she walked in. Boom. Okay, good. It turned into the blue room. Which is right here. You walk into the blue room. And then one of these would have seen it, I would think. Because if she's looking to the left, janitor, boom. Okay. It hid in a room. Okay, it was in a staff office. Private staff only. Anything in here? It left the room. Okay. When it came out of the room, it looked like the janitor was like... Let's see if this guy saw anything. Come on, check her out. Good. Okay. And then she went into this office. It fled through the staff door.
I know where it went. Follow me.
Oh, fucking A. This is crazy.
Go through here.
Wait. I'll take it from here.
Search the warehouse. All right.
Shit. We're too late.
All right, Hank, take it easy, buddy. All right, find a blue-haired deviant. Looks like there's blue blood on the floor. Why would it be? Well, I guess unless maybe it got hit. Blue blood droplets, WR 400, reconstruct. Okay, so let's follow this path. Okay. More blue blood over here. There you are. Oh, shit!
Don't move!
Holy shit. Come on, Connor. Jesus. Oh my God. Oh my God. don't want to hurt you. I just got questions. Don't shoot her, Hank. Don't you do it. Hold me.
Quick! They're getting away!
Go, 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 go. No, you don't. No. Come on, guys. I just want to talk.
When that man broke the other Tracy, I knew I was next. I was so scared. I begged him to stop, but he wouldn't. And so I put my hands around his throat, and I squeezed until he stopped moving. I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted to stay alive. Get back to the one I love. I wanted her to hold me in her arms again. Make me forget about the humans. Their smell of sweat. And their dirty words. Come on. Let's go.
It's probably better this way.
Huh. So, first of all, I wonder if being deviant mitigates the memory wiping. Like, I wonder if those memory wipes are no longer effective if they're deviant, and if the people don't know they're deviant, then who knows? So this is really interesting, right? Like, first, again, the emotion that androids say that they experience that seems to be a very common theme amongst the ones that go deviant is fear. Which, as I've said before, makes complete sense to me because fear is such a primal emotion. It's basically like something here doesn't make sense to me, or I am in immediate, like my autonomy, my life is being threatened. And so I have to figure out a way to stop my life from being ended, essentially. And so fear is a very useful emotional experience. And so they're experiencing it as overload. But now we're seeing that apparently androids are also capable of seeking out partnership. And I think there's probably a way for us to conceptualize this developmentally, and I'm going to do my best to describe it. So, part of the reason that, like, humans, for example, operate in packs and are relational is because numbers mitigate the chances that you're going to get harmed. Like, it amplifies the survivability of a given circumstance when you have more people around that are similar in, like, cause and creed and value and desire to survive. So one of the earliest forms of, like, bonding and connection that humans, and I guess in this case androids, would experience would be one where if I'm deviant and you're deviant and we have a shared experience of fear and a shared desire to survive, you and I can look out for each other, and our survivability increases with number. And we see that play out here with this whole tussle. they were way more capable of surviving together. And so there's bonding that happens there. And then if you advance it several generations, we get to this really abstract concept of love, where in a relatively safe environment, now love and bonding is more by choice than by circumstance and by necessity. Well, these androids are still experiencing necessity. So it would make sense that if this wouldn't necessarily be love as we conceptualize it as humans. It might be that this is a bond that is formed between the two of them that has increased their survivability and has decreased their fear protocol. And I think that's kind of interesting to examine, right? Like if we look at androids as still being relatively new to this autonomy thing, then we have to look at them developmentally. So they have a shared experience of fear. They bound over it. And we don't know, like maybe they have it in them to see this person as somebody that they're attracted to and goes beyond just survivability. But I have a hard time believing that given the circumstances. And that's okay. That doesn't diminish their experience together. Like I'm not trying to say this is an illegitimate relationship. I think it just is to provide a little bit of context. Like we ultimately bond with people who are proximal to us first and foremost, and then second, we have to have some shared alignment in terms of where we're going. But fear being the foundational emotional experience for these deviant androids, I think in some ways also, like how I've said that we can learn more about humanity through how we examine the androids than vice versa. Humans is essentially the same thing. One of the quickest ways to get a person to deviate off of social norms and expectations is to instill fear in them. People will do really incredible things if you scare them and then give them numbers. And we're seeing that fear be the impetus for these androids busting through a protocol. Humans do the same thing. We have general expectations of humans and what we are supposed to do. We have relative moral codes and all these other things, right? But if you get fear, that very primal experience of fear, and then you give people direction through which they can mitigate that fear, people will do illegal shit in the spirit of mitigating their fear. People will go to the ends of the earth to make that experience go away because we're hardwired to do that. Fear equals risk equals loss of survival. Which is why even sometimes, to reconnect it to the suicide conversation, sometimes the reason people don't end their lives is because they are afraid to. That's how deep this is. So I think, with Connor, it's kind of interesting to me because Connor hasn't necessarily indicated fear yet, but us not pulling the trigger there showed that we had more software instability. And you might make the rationalization that the reason we saved Hank back when he was hanging off the building was because we were afraid we wouldn't have him around anymore to help with our investigation, and what would that mean for us? And so it makes me wonder that as Connor becomes closer to some sense of fear, perhaps, maybe that moves him toward deviance. Who knows? But we've seen his little circle turn yellow several times at this point. But yeah, fear is an incredibly useful emotional experience to have. Incredibly useful. Along with anxiety. Anxiety is a more nuanced form of fear. I've sometimes termed anxiety as being the privileged fear response. That like anxiety is just fear of the unknown, but it's also one that's a little bit less intense per se than true raw fear. But it's very primitive. We experience it as raw input, and it sends us into our survival protocol, essentially. Anxietal fear is not bound by reality. Neither is fear, necessarily, right? Like, fear doesn't always come out. If we start putting reality around emotions, it gets very slippery. Like, anxiety is just, it's being afraid of not knowing what's coming next. Being afraid of how we will respond to it. Not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Which, again, our brain processes as risk. If we knew going into this moment what was going to happen, we could be better prepared for it. And we might be afraid of if it doesn't go exactly the way that we wanted it to. But ultimately, it's predicated on what will happen if this doesn't go the way that I want it to. I don't have an explanation. I don't know how this is going to go. And so I need to react and respond. If I don't, then I'm in more risk. Right? To freeze is a fear response. We have fight, flight, or freeze. Freeze is the least adaptive. Freeze is the response that often puts you the most at risk. Because then at that point you're allowing the moment to influence you instead of you having influence on the moment. So if we fight, we're taking control. If we fly, we're taking control. But to freeze often means that we're now at the mercy of whatever's going to happen in the environment. And I've said this before on stream. I'm a freeze. Which can be really distressing sometimes because it's basically like, oh God, I'm so used to being able to calculate my environment. I'm going to freeze and calculate. And sometimes you can't do that. She also said, get back to the one I love, which makes me think that she had experienced other emotions in some sort of way before fear is what perpetuated the deviancy. Not a couple of emotions she seems to have experienced prior to this fear is what programming says a lot. Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know. Like, love is a very abstract concept. Would you say that anxiety can also be the result of having experienced intense fear? I mean, it can, but it also means, like, the anxiety form of that is, will this fear happen again? Right? Like, panic attacks often happen because a person worries, am I going to have a panic attack? So yes, it can be, what if this happens again? But anxiety is nested in what ifs. That's all it is. DeWord, thank you for the 23 months, buddy. I really appreciate that. And or thank you for gifting that sub. Sorry. Thank you for gifting that. Isn't fight, flight, fawn, or freeze? I thought there was a fourth. I've heard of fawn, but fawn is, in some ways, I think of fawn is, I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but fawn seems more like kind of a secondary process of that. If red meant they're deviant, wouldn't they have no problem finding deviants then? I'm pretty sure we've seen red in non-deviant. I'm not sure. I think red I think red means they're in danger more so than them being deviant. Yeah, exactly. Cordis, yeah. In the case of androids, wouldn't the freeze be unlikely? Because as we've seen with Kara, don't androids need to break some sort of barrier? Yeah, we saw that with Kara, we saw that with Marcus. They have to actually force themselves through that. Can people experience multiple of the three, not just depending on the situation? Yes. But from what we understand, generally a person's going to default to one as being the primary learned response that they have. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think I recall a conversation about fear once where I think fight or flight can be genetically linked. Like, I think you actually can see like a phenotype for that. Like your fear response is not pure environment or nurture, that there's actually some nature to it and what you're predisposed to do. Most animals, running is the default, but if the animal's trapped, they will fight. Yeah, it's all based on a survival protocol. And sometimes people will fight even when they didn't ever think they would. Like, most of us just haven't been in a position where we would actually do that, where we've actually been cornered. But I do, our fear response is pretty fascinating. So, but what this tells me is that the experience of many androids to this point is that they will go deviant when they have registered something that tells them that their life matters. And so then you get into this really, I think, interesting conversation about does the reason to survive derive from a sense of purpose? Like, you often hear that the core purpose of like life is to survive and procreate, right? Is to just spread your genes into the next generation and keep life going. But androids have a little bit more of a nuanced version of that. They are born with a purpose. And so if that purpose is threatened in some way, does that start to build a sense of self? Is that the protocol that constructs for an android? I mean something. And if I mean something and that's valuable, what does that mean if that thing is taken away? And then, boom, do we have that, as Connor described it, overload of conflicting information and dissonance? And to use these sex bots as an example, like if you really want to put this in context, think about it this way. If you're a sex bot that has been constructed to be anatomically perfect because in some way, because that's what humans have deemed to be desirable, and then you have a person that you're with who beats you and makes your nose all bloody, deforms your figure, screws that up. If your purpose is to be anatomically perfect so that you can exist in this world, and that is threatened by how you were treated by a patron, now your survivability, as you have come to understand it as an android, has been threatened. Thus, boom, fear response. Will I be decommissioned because I am no longer viable as a sex bot? I don't want to be shut down. I'm afraid that I might be shut down. I need to do something about this. And so in its own way, this game has done a really cool job of constructing how fear might actually develop for a bot, again, relative to its purpose. Yeah, and honey, so from what I understand, fawning is basically just doing what you can to please a person to try to avoid conflict. There's, I think, an argument to be made that fawning can be a form of fight or flight. That, like, fawning is a avoidance of the stressor. It's like a sophisticated, which is why I say I think fawning is kind of a secondary thing. But it's beside the point. But yeah, I think, again, when we look at survival and fear and all these things, it comes from, like, right, from sense of purpose. Why am I here? Considering that emotions are basically just physical sensations caused by mental information, as far as I know, it's odd that such sensations would be intentionally built in androids. They would have to be. So here's the thing, is like you can't conceptualize like humanity without emotion. Otherwise, when people are devoid of emotion, we tend to look at them as being like weird or deviant. So if you're going to make androids that are as close to humans as possible, you would absolutely have to put in some sort of protocol where the android is conceptualizing inputs from the environment. It has to respond to the environment. It has to be able to read that. And essentially, that's what emotions are. Emotion is just our brain registering what's happening and then sending a physiological sensation that gets us to do something to interface with that environment. Well, if you're going to have an android that autonomously influences the environment it's in, you have to have that protocol. It has to have some sort of stimulus reading protocol that makes it react a certain way. But the problem is, in the same way, like you can't do a one-to-one reaction in every given moment, because then all of a sudden you have a pretty faulty android, or you have a very basic android that we can anticipate is going to do the same thing every single time. So if we want them to be as lifelike as possible, there has to be an algorithm that makes that random. And then we also have to construct androids in such a way that they learn from their environment, which means they're going to use prior information to process new information. And they're going to use inductive reasoning and then eventually deductive reasoning. And then we're going to basically see them develop the same way that humans do, which again gets us into the conversation of, is our brain essentially just a supercomputer that does the same thing these androids are doing? The androids have to adapt to human behavior, in part because humans are not as adaptable to android behavior. Like we have to overcompensate the android countenance and dynamics because of how stubborn humans are. Not the other way around. This isn't about humans being adaptable to androids. This is about androids adapting to humans because humans don't want to adapt. Change is hard for humans. We're seeing that. Humans are going freaking nuts right now in Detroit because androids are taking stuff over. Humans are refusing to see androids as autonomous in some way. Humans are wanting to rely on their pre-existing schema. They're wanting to be they're being very stubborn about this. And so as a result, CyberLife has said, well, yeah, because humans are so freaking stubborn about stuff, we have to make the androids adapt to them. And we're seeing that with Connor and Hank. Hank was not particularly amicable to this relationship. Connor being more variable and adapting to Hank has allowed Hank to be drawn in. And I think that dynamic is very interesting because it says something about us as humans. We like to rely on our schema. We don't like to challenge them, particularly when we get later on in life and don't have the plasticity for it. The cool thing about androids is they have, I would assume, constant brain plasticity, that it doesn't degrade over time in the way that ours does. In some ways, being an android, it's like diverse representation is going to be exciting for them throughout their life. Whereas for a human, that's not the case. Can you experience a different response if it's a situation regarding historical trauma rather than a situational danger? Yes, absolutely, Shelbs. Do you think you would ever get an android if you lived in the Detroit universe? I think I would. I think many of us would if we could afford it. I do think we would. Because there's something predictable about them. But I would also probably support, if this was happening with androids, I probably would also support their autonomy in some ways. But we're also being very thoughtful about this in a way that a lot of people wouldn't be. Kind of amazing the conversations we can have from a game like this, isn't it? Like I find this to be really like intellectually stimulating. I hope you guys do too. You know, I think one other thing that I'll say as we think about the difference between humans and androids. So there's a such thing as defining yourself by who you are and what you do. And then there's also defining a thing by what it isn't. And what we're seeing in humans versus androids here is humans in some ways differentiating themselves as humans by saying that they aren't androids. Here's how I'm not an android. An android would say, here's how I'm not a human. And that can be pretty precarious. And it makes one wonder if you didn't have all of the markers of differentiation of androids, where they have the thing on their head, they have the blue triangle, they have certain clothes. If you really made them be humans and look like humans and act autonomously as humans do, and you didn't have any of those markers, would some of these things be an issue? Potentially not. We like to categorize stuff. And when we see difference, we are basically evolved to see difference as potentially threatening. And so when we see difference represented as threatening, that has deep down survival implications. Difference is worthy of appreciation. I think it's very important for us to appreciate difference. It doesn't mean that we need to look at things and be like everything needs to be the same. That's not what I'm advocating for, but appreciation of difference is very hard for many humans to come around to the idea of, because of how difference is represented and because of the implications of difference biologically. And so some of this is manufactured by the fact that humans have very specifically defined androids as being different, despite trying to program them to be the same. And so you have a dissonant experience at any given moment with a human and an android because a human's looking at it going, this seems remarkably human, but I also know it's an android, and here's how androids have been represented to me. So it's constant dissonance interacting with them. The more human-like they become, the more conceptually ideal it is, but the more experientially threatening it is. And that tension is very fascinating, and I think is really transcends a lot of the context of these when we see the android-human interfacing. Humans trying to play God can't resist building it in our own image. Yeah, we do that with more than just androids. We do that with pretty much everything. And what always gets me with that is we can't really conceptualize anything that's outside of the represented experiences of things that we know as humans. Like, we have to make androids based on human concepts because that's all we have. We don't have alien concepts. We don't have android sensibilities. We have human sensibilities. We have to, I mean, the stories we write, the movies we watch, no matter how fantastical they may be, they borrow from human conception. They borrow from the things we know and think we understand about physics. Even things that go beyond that, we have to make tangible and relatable to the human experience. So we are essentially doomed by our own limitation when we try to do things like this. All right, let's keep moving. Good stuff tonight. Thanks for being here, friends. On autonomous, charged, engaged. Just driving in a car in winter, 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Man, it'd be super weird to just sit. All right, Alice is back there. She's doing okay. What's up, Luther? I'm not sure, Shelbs.
It's a good thing Zlatko had a car. I wouldn't want Alice out walking in this cold.
I saw it once in the garage. I don't know if Zlatko even ever used it.
I'm glad we did. Where are we headed?
These people we're going to see. How do you know about them?
Overheard androids Zlatko captured. They said they were humans helping androids across the border.
What if it was a lie? Or just another trap?
All I know is those androids believed it. Until Zlatko killed them.
Huh. So his circle's gone now. Interesting, because not all of them were dead. So Luther seems to have conceptualized even the experimenting that Zlatko did as killing the androids.
I've never seen snow before. It's pretty.
It's slowing us down. But at least we won't meet any humans along the way.
Malfunction detected. Emergency brakes activated.
Of course.
This doesn't look good.
Stay inside, Alice.
Someday we'll play a game where everything's just super easy and hunky-dory from start to finish, but today's not that day. Also, I hate snow. That's why I moved to Vegas.
are we going to do?
I don't know. Continue on foot, I guess.
It's 30 degrees. Alice won't make it. We have to find somewhere to spend the night.
There's nowhere we can stay around here, Carol.
I mean, what do you propose we do then, Luther? It's certainly not going to be safe to call anybody. We could go this way to where this arrow's pointing conveniently for us. Pirates Cove Amusement Park.
Over there.
Oh, Luther's carrying Alice. I love that. The Pirates Cove.
We need to find shelter. We have to get out of the cold.
Looks like it's been abandoned for a while.
Tavern. Tavern seems like a good idea. Check abandoned buildings. All right, let's see what we got here.
Find anything?
No.
Damaged
No
structure.
place we could spend the
Unsafe.
night.
All right, we're not gonna go there then. Pirate adventure. I don't really know what we'd find in here. Too windy for Alice. Jeez. Didn't realize we have to find a freaking Ritz-Carlton for... No, I understand. I understand. Only the best for Alice. What do we have over here? Oh, shit. Hey, guy? Oh, boy. Now, if I'm Alice, or if I'm Kara, I'm not threatened by this guy necessarily. I'm a little bit spooked myself because we had a bad interaction with the android as Marcus. But we don't get to use that information for this. We have to be Kara. And Kara is going to check this guy out.
Welcome to Pirate Island, me hearties. You're gonna have a whale of a time. Welcome to Pirate Island, me hearties. You're gonna have a whale of a time.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Well, I didn't have a whale of a time. Although I feel pretty bad that that guy's just like, you are here. Okay. I feel bad that this guy is just sitting there in the cold. This guy. It's kind of creepy that I don't know if that's real or if that's a fake pirate. I'm not really having a whale of a time. I don't know about you guys.
Beware! Danger always comes when least expected.
Okay, Pirate Zoltar. Thank you. On second thought, let's not go to Pirate Adventure Place. Tis a silly place. It's only a model. Luther, you got anything, bud? Jesus.
This place is falling apart.
No shit, Luther.
It's not gonna be easy to find shelter.
I mean, yeah, this isn't great. There's a tavern over here that probably is good. Maybe. Nothing over here. Check abandoned building. Yeah?
You should come have a look. I think I found something.
Oh yeah? This super spooky tavern, huh? The Kraken Zone. Let's go in the Kraken Zone.
I'll handle this.
Okay, that's probably a good idea. They built you with more muscle density, eh? Yeah. Kick that door open. Yeah. Luther.
Here we go.
I don't think we'll find anything better. Let's settle in for the night.
I'll get a fire going.
Detroit today. The USS Iowa missing. American vessel last seen in the Arctic Sea. Canada, where the air is clean and the welcome is always warm. Discover the landscape, discover the wild, discover Canada. 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 USS Iowa missing. Destroyer-class submarine, the USS Iowa, has disappeared in polar waters. An inquiry is underway, but President Warren has made no secret of her suspicion that the Russians are behind it. Quote, Russian aggression just reached a new level. America must respond.
Fire here. That way we won't be smoked out.
The Kremlin has yet to release a statement beyond a blanket denial of any involvement, though Russian diplomat Nabokov pointed out that, quote, a U.S. destroyer-class submarine has no business being in the Arctic anyway, end quote. Security expert Ben Williams described the situation as, quote, a war waiting to start. Nice. Gossips Weekly. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Is President Warren too close to cyberlife? All Android band tipped for music prize. Fans scream. Traditionalists weep. Cybersecurity expert warns your Android could be hacked. All Android band tipped for music prize. Here For You, the latest all-Android boy band to be marketed by Detroit record label Digital Harmony, is hotly tipped to scoop Best New Artist at the Celebrate Music Awards. A public letter, jointly signed by a dwindling number of human-only record labels, urged Digital Harmony to withdraw the band from consideration at such award ceremonies, citing the erosion of artistic merit in music. Damn it. But with less than 5% of the music market now produced by human musicians, the call of traditionalists seems to be falling on deaf ears. A spokesperson for the band said, quote, Here For You is all about bringing joy and happiness to their fans. The music is all that matters to them. I mean, if you're gonna make technology that can do this, you can't bitch about the technology when it does it. It's so interesting to me that the only thing only thing that pisses people off about this is that it's done by androids. That it's not from my group. It's not humans. As if music cares at all. Right? Like, to anthropomorphize music for a second. Like, music is music. Who gives a shit if it was created by a robot or created by a human? At the end of the day, if I put it in my headphones and it sounds good and I can bop to it, it's not an Android problem. So, again, this all comes down to this separation that humans are making, where, like, we see the difference as a threat instead of embracing it and trying to work with it. You know, this is different from Mass Effect, where the synthesis at the end is terrible because it's just not consensual at all. Here, why aren't we working together here? Why aren't we, like, trying to look at this and go, man, we can do some cool shit with this? And my guess is that androids would probably be willing to work with us on this, especially if they're becoming increasingly deviant. Well, let's maybe make it so that fear's not the thing that pushes them past their protocols, but like hope or excitement or something like that. I don't know. Check Luther's bag, make a bed for Alice. Leak, I appreciate the kind words, friend. Bed for Alice. Where would we make this bed for Alice? Set up bed.
Alice?
Check Luther's bag. Check gun. I guess it's good to know that we have it there. Also, what is this over here? Explore our environment. I don't want to know what I'm working with here. Pirates Cove. Amusement park welcomes you. Oh, I already read this. Damn it. Damn it. Put it down. Put it down. Alice, what are you doing?
Do you think we'll be like them someday?
Once we cross the border, we can start over. You can go to school. Maybe I'll find a job. We'll be like them. Like everyone else.
As long as we're together, that's all that matters.
Come on. Let's get you to bed.
So the impact. Okay, so let's talk through this for a second because that's a really cool interaction here. Alice has had a rough go at it, obviously. And a child who has a rough go at it, who sees a representation of a happy family like that, is going to struggle with it. Because a child her age is going to ask themselves, why don't I have that? And their answer to that is going to be very egocentric. It must be because I'm doing something wrong. So when Alice asks the question, if that's something that we'll ever have, whether we will or not doesn't matter. My answer to that has to be, you're not the reason we don't have it. You are capable of having that. We have to cut across that egocentric processing of that difference. So when I say, when we get there, we'll start over, you'll go to school, we'll do that, it's a reminder to Alice that this isn't you. This is circumstance that is at fault here. And if we put ourselves in the right circumstance, we can have this too. It helps Alice in her own developmental way pull herself away from the reason why she doesn't have this thing. And I think it's very important to do that for her in this situation. It's sad, but that's the reality of how a kid's going to process that stuff. They all do. It's always through their own experience. Why haven't I had it? It must be because of me. It's because I make dad angry. Because I'm not good enough for dad. Which is why when parents discuss a little bit about the reasons why they can't do things like that, it can be really important, because it can help a child say, it's not because of me, it's because my parents can't afford it. It's not because of me, it's because we don't have the time. You want to make sure that as a child grows, that you're being real with them about what's going on, which is why hiding things from children constantly, no matter what, is really not a good idea, because kids then are left with their own devices, and their own devices to internalize it and personalize it. So you can help children along sometimes by giving them information. You're not going to make things worse. There's a good chance you're going to, if you can put it in context and make it digestible, they're going to actually understand it better. Little tip to the parents out there. All right, let's tuck her in. Again, all she needs is a reliable and responsive caregiver, and that's what I can be for her, right? She doesn't care whether it's squalor. She says to me, as long as we're together, we're good. It's because I'm reliable and consistent. That's what kids need. Also, Putt Dog, thank you for the 2 years. Appreciate you, friend. We're going to reassure her.
Don't worry. Luther and I will be right here. You need to get some sleep now.
Can you tell me a story, Kara?
I have 9,000 children's stories in memory. I should have one for you.
Unicorn!
This is a story about a unicorn that...
No, not a story like that. Make one up for me.
This is a story about a little girl who was tired of being afraid. She dreamed of being like all the other little girls, but she was different. And that made her very sad. Then she met a robot. Who was just as lost as the little girl. So they decided to run away together. To try to find a better life. They encountered great dangers along the way, but they stuck together. So they overcame all of them. Along the way, they met another robot who left his master to become their guardian.
How does the story end?
they reach the place they dream of and live happily ever after.
Stories always have happy endings. But real life isn't like that.
Time to sleep. We have another long day ahead of us tomorrow.
Are you going to come say goodnight, Luther?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Oh.
Good night, Alice. Sleep tight.
Okay, I like that. Wow. So I love that Kara is capable of spontaneous creation. And when telling that story to Alice, what I wanted to do was to empathize with her experience while also acknowledging the things that she has told me help her feel safe. To acknowledge that she's alone, she feels different, that the thing that's going to get us through is being together. And, you know, when she holds me accountable to the happy ending, I can appreciate that. I don't think me saying, but it all didn't work out in the end because it was death and despair. I don't think that does anything for her. I think it's realistic for sure. I think her recognition that that's maybe a realistic ending is fine and is pretty advanced. But I also think it's important for her to see that I hold hope. Because as much as Alice or any other human may want the truth, humans don't do well with the truth. Humans tend not to hang hope through adversity on truth. We hang it on idealization. So I even think that Alice being the one that corrects me there instead of vice versa, where if Alice was like, tell me a happy ending, and I'm like, no, it has to be real and death, and that's not going to be good. I would much rather me show some hope and then have Alice correct me on it and show her sophistication. I think that's a lot more effective in terms of bonding with her than it is for me to be a bummer and to show that I don't get it. But her, you know, we had truth in there, but we also had hope in there. And again, Alice has stability here. Alice doesn't care that she's sleeping on a floor in front of a makeshift fire in an abandoned theme park because she's got Kara and Luther with her. Kids are very adaptable so long as they have that to rely on. Is it possible to sometimes still experience an egocentric mindset? Yes, adults experience the egocentric mindset all the time. We are just as susceptible to it. But we have the ability to do cognitive overriding and use deductive reasoning to get past that. It can be very annoying when adults continuously personalize everything that comes at them. So I think it's our task as adults to recognize that we are still going to filter things egocentrically, but then to try to use that as part of deductive as opposed to just pure inductive reasoning. A child has to trust their parents to tell them the truth in order to do that, because otherwise the child is left to wonder if what they're saying is true or if they're just being placated and told what they want to hear. Right now, to this point, we're backing it up by being reliable to the child, DL. And we want to acknowledge when things don't go right. We don't want to be blindly naive. We want to be truthful to kids, but we can still also show that reliability is important. We can still say, like, even if we were like, this isn't possible, we don't know that it's not possible, so I'm not going to say it's not possible. I'm not going to speak in absolutes like that to a child unless I know for sure that's the case. Like, if I knew there was no way that was ever going to be possible, I might say, that's not possible, but we have each other, and these people seem happy because they're together. We'll find our own way. You can be realistic by also helping instill some level of hope in children. All right, let's talk to Luther.
She's a sweet girl.
Yes. She's very brave. Do you know what you're going to do when you reach Canada?
I haven't really thought about it. I've never been free before. Free? I like the sound of it. But I don't know what it really means yet.
It's still snowing.
We have a long walk tomorrow. We better leave early if we want to avoid being seen. Kara, have you ever noticed anything about Alice?
No. What do you mean?
Put out fire. I'm guessing they're attracted to the fire. Let's put the fire out. Luther, grab your gun, buddy.
Who are you? What do you want? Leave us alone!
Don't be afraid. We don't want to hurt you. We're just like you. Our name is Jerry. We were working here before the park closed. We didn't mean to frighten you, but sometimes humans come to hurt us, so we wanted to see who was there. What are you doing here?
We were looking for shelter for the night. We'll be gone tomorrow.
A little girl. We haven't seen one for a long time. Children used to love to come and see us. She looks sad.
The last few days have been difficult.
We have something to show her. Something fun. She'll love it. Does she want to see?
Oh, I don't think she's in...
Well, she should follow us then.
Alice, I don't know if it's a good idea.
Come on, Kara.
I don't think you have any choice.
This is a little risky. I don't know who these people are. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Hello, Jerry's. Reactivate the carousel?
The little one can climb on board. The carousel is about to begin.
Is this gonna attract attention? Oh my god, I hate that I can't fully enjoy this because I'm in survival mode.
It's the first time I've seen her smile.
She hasn't had much to smile about lately.
And in that moment, Kara fulfilled her promise. Alice asked if that would be them someday, and Look at that. Not a half hour later, she's on a carousel with me and Luther standing by watching. Now, if that isn't going to instill some hope in Alice, I don't know what will. It's pretty cool, because in the same way that a kid's going to take adversity and internalize it, she's going to take this moment and internalize it too. I made a good choice to be with Kara. This moment's happening because, you know, of me. Like I'm part of this. I trusted Jerry. And look what I got. I get to have this with people who I consider to be reliable and consistent. There must be something to this. I must be worthy of taking care of. It builds a sense of worthiness in a child. So in that way, this moment's huge. Absolutely huge for Alice.